Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Generational Beef Podcast. I'm your host, Tristan Terrell, as well as my dad.
Noel Terrell, Generational Beef.
We're back with another exciting episode this week, getting to recap the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the NFL season is now over. That sucks. Got to go wait another, 8-9 months for Super Bowl to come back, or not the Super Bowl, for football to come back. Not quite that long. I just did bad math. 6 or 7 months is actually what it is.
I think it's like
But
200 something days from now without football.
Yeah, get the countdown, put it on the screen. We'll have it here all year.
I was thinking after the NBA, we're going to be talking about like golf, which I love golf. Don't get me wrong.
Get some.
I could even talk a little bit about the waste management this weekend. I was watching it Sunday in the airport lounge before the Super Bowl in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
We're going to get some MLB All-Star takes going.
I don't really care about that, but we can talk about other stuff NBA if you want.
No, I said. Did I say NBA? I meant MLB. I meant MLB in the dead of the off season.
Maybe I'll watch a game or two of the 9,000 they play. Don't normally get too much into baseball before October, whatever. So, but we'll figure it out.
There will be plenty of off-season news and stuff. We're not obviously done talking football after today because we've got free agency, draft, all that kind of stuff. But for now, we get to talk about the end of our great NFL season this year, recapping the Super Bowl.
I'll kick it off. I think, first, I called it right. And I called it double digits. I didn't think the spread was all that much. Look, I was just basing it on what the Seahawks had done all year. And I was basing it off the fact that I didn't see any reason that I didn't have a lot of belief that Drake May was going to be bouncing back in this game. And that clearly didn't happen. I think, neither of the quarterback numbers were great, but, I think Darnold makes the big plays with his legs when he needed to keep the plays alive and made some really good passes out of that. His percentages weren't great and those types of things, but part of that was both defenses did play elite. I've heard a lot of people say they thought it was a boring game, and I get if you don't appreciate great defense, that's true. But there was some great defense played on both sides of the ball.
This was not 2018 Patriots Rams. This was not that game. That game was just boring and not good. This game was great defense and a lot of energy and excitement.
Getting lit up like that, when the quarterbacks are getting lit up, it's great defense. And don't get me wrong, there was some incompetent line play on the side of the Patriots too. But here's my major takeaway from this. I felt like after watching Darnold last year that he was capable of doing something like this. I think clearly the GM paid the price in Minnesota, especially since they had come out and said, well, there was disagreement in the building about whether they should sign Darnold or not. And clearly that was the right decision to sign him, and they didn't. Doesn't mean that the Vikings would be in the Super Bowl right now or had won it if he didn't. But when you look at the talent on that roster, it makes you wonder for sure. Because I think they would have run away with the North with competent quarterback play this season. And obviously Darnold already had the connections with JJ and Addison, all of them. So I think I walk away from that going, he didn't make the big mistake in the Super Bowl. He didn't turn the ball over. The defense was coming at him. He made the smart play every time. He threw some tight windows early on in the game, right? But I think them getting those early points also made a big difference. I also think, interestingly enough, the way the NFL's gone with, fourth downs and things like that, neither team did that in this game, but it was the right decision not to. The defenses were playing too good. You had to try to win some field position battles, and Seattle did that all night compared to the Patriots. I think the other big takeaway I take from this, and this is fair and unfair, but take from it what you will. I think the Patriots have their guy, right? I think Drake May is legit. However, you have to at least be questioning it a little bit. When you look at, and maybe when you go back and edit this, you can put this graphic up, but you show the fate of almost all of the coaches that the Patriots beat this year, and either the head coach was fired or their offensive or defensive coordinators were fired or both. Like the people they played this year, their schedule wasn't just easy or towards the bottom of easy or top of easy. It was historically an easy schedule.
Yeah.
And so, but hold on, let me finish this. And so he put up elite numbers. There's no questions about that. Now, they weren't Stafford's number. The fact that the MVP vote was even that close is borderline ridiculous. When you looked at even if their yards were similar, and they weren't.
They were really similar when you consider total yards, because Drake May led the league in quarterback rushing yards.
But Stafford had 15 or 16 more passing touchdowns. Like, it shouldn't have been close, but it was close. And so when you look at that, and then in the playoffs, when they started playing real defenses the entire time, yeah, they got by those guys, but it was ugly. And it was ugly mostly by May. And so when I look at this, I look at it and go, I think it's safe to say, if not the worst, it's one of the worst in NFL history quarterback stretches in playoffs that actually made it to the Super Bowl. Like, if you looked at his numbers over the playoffs, it would have been a modern miracle if they had won it. The other part is, a lot of people are pointing, well, look at his numbers. They were better than when Burrow was in the Super Bowl. That was all in the fourth quarter. That was garbage time. They were out of the game. Like, they had like 50 yards at half. Like, so don't tell me that he played better than Burrow in the Super Bowl. He was terrible. Now, was he getting lit up? Yes, but he threw a bunch of really inaccurate passes. So I think they're fine. Trust me, I would take him in Miami tomorrow. However, you have to at least have a little bit of a doubt. I'm not saying the team does as a fan, because then the other thing everybody's talking about, well, it's only his second year. He'll be back. You ever heard of Dan Marino? He never went back after getting shellacked in the Super Bowl. I think Variable's a better coach than Don Shula. I know, again, that's not a popular opinion. I mean, I think the organization is better run than the Dolphins were back then. But so I don't know, maybe he will, but people are acting like it's a guarantee because he got here in his second year. We haven't seen Burrow go back. Dan Marino never went back.
Okay.
I granted Drake May is a different situation, but
so I'm gonna go several places. First of all, to start off with, no, Dan Marino never went back, but he did still have a Hall of Fame career and is one of the greatest Super Bowl one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Whether you're
not going to
considering
get me to argue that,
whether you're considering winning a ring or not, whatever. Right. So my point is, saying Drake May will be fine doesn't necessarily mean that he'll go back, or people saying that he'll be back doesn't even necessarily mean he'll be back in the Super Bowl. It means he'll be really good. It's not like he's going to fall off or something. I think that's a lot of what people are saying. And yeah, there are definitely going to be people arguing that he'll make another Super Bowl. Whether he will or not, who knows? We'll see. I do think that it was a very optimal situation this year, right? You didn't have to play Josh Allen in the playoffs, and then whenever you got to the team that beat them, their quarterback was out. And I'm not taking anything away from the Patriots. Obviously, it was a very optimal situation for them. You had no Mahomes, you had no Lamar. I get it, right? So it is going to get more difficult for sure. But that doesn't mean that they can't still be really good. And then the other point that I would make to that, right, is that I would think that the part of a big piece of the faith that people would have when they're making comments like that, I get that Belichick's gone. I get that obviously Tom is gone, but you've replaced him with a guy that, pure talent is better than, is more talented than Tom Brady. Part of the faith of they'll be back and Drake May will be great and they'll be back is the fact that he's not Dan Marino playing for the Miami Dolphins. He is not Joe Burrow playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. He is Drake May playing for the New England Patriots. And obviously, we're all upset about the fact that they made the Super Bowl. Not because, you hate to see a young team perform well. Normally, that's the team you root for. It's the fact that this is the Patriots. They took 5 years off and are already back in the Super Bowl. So, again, I'm not going to say that this is a recipe for success long term. I'm not going to say necessarily that they're going to repeat this. They're going to go back and someday they're going to win it. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that it's a different conversation having this one than comparing Joe Burrow going to one or, Dan Marino going to one or what. I mean, this is the New England Patriots. And Mike Vrabel, like you said, is a great coach. Maybe he's not Bill Belichick. Maybe he is, though. Maybe he's better than Bill Belichick.
He could be better.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Is you never know. And so I'm going to trust in a Robert Kraft-led organization to bounce back. And again, I do believe in every sense of the word that when you watch this game, it's kind of what we expected. Like you said, almost nobody was actually picking the Patriots, right? People started betting the Patriots because the public was so favoring the Seahawks. Some people were talking about the Patriots winning, most of them people with bias. Devin McCourty on the broadcast obviously played a decade plus with the Patriots. Fred Warner on the broadcast picked him, but that's because he plays in the same division as the Seahawks, right? And most people that picked him, it was a bias. Nobody actually thought the Patriots were winning this game. They didn't think they deserved to be on the same field as the Seahawks, and as we saw, they really didn't. The Seahawks, top to bottom, are probably the best roster in the league, and that showed in this game through and through. They dominated 60 minutes of this game. It was never close. It was never in question. Yeah, they were always like, if you could make this and this play, maybe it could be close. But the problem is we all knew the entire time this and this play wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to be made. The Seahawks were never going to allow it to happen, offensively or defensively. I mean, the game was never that close. And no, Sam Darnold didn't play well, but he didn't need to.
I don't know that he didn't.
No, hold on.
I don't think it's fair to say he didn't play well.
He made a couple.
He didn't put up big numbers.
Like you said, he made a couple plays when it mattered most. But for the majority of this game, I think he did finish over. But for the majority of this game, even he was below 50% completion percentage. He didn't necessarily play well, but the defense was phenomenal on the Patriots end as well. But he didn't need to. And this team just overall dominated. The Seahawks defense was phenomenal. Their offense was good in spots when it needed to be. It was situationally good. Kenneth Walker just did whatever he wanted to in this game for the most. I mean, like, Kenneth Walker was really, really good. Well, he deserved the MVP. Had they not called the hold on that last drive, and it was a very clear hold, obviously, but had they not called the hold, it would have been another 49 yards. He would have had the third most rushing yards in a Super Bowl ever, and would have added a touchdown. So I'm very glad that he got Super Bowl MVP anyways, because if that play getting called back would have cost him it, I think it would have been wrong.
I take two things away from that, really. The first thing is, God, he is just a patient runner, and then he has a burst. Right. And
that one late in the game where they were talking about it, they were like, oh, Lev Bell would be proud, where he just literally stood there. It felt like he stood there for like 5 seconds and then just like got 9 yards out of it, basically without being touched. I mean, it was
the crowd in the
insane.
American Lounge at DFW at that moment went crazy.
Yeah.
Look, the other thing that's interesting to me, and I expect this offseason he'll be the highest paid running back in football.
I mean, that's aggressive.
He's a free agent.
He's not going to get higher paid than Saquon got last year. I mean, Saquon was a 2,000-yard rusher. Kenneth Walker's a good player. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's a good player. He is not better than a healthy Christian McCaffrey. Healthy, and I get that's right.
He's a lot younger.
No, for sure. He might have more.
I would argue he is a better runner. He may not be a better all-around back.
I disagree.
At this point in his career, for sure he is. I
don't
even think that's
and there's a difference between saying overall talent and value, right? Because value is different because that considers health, that considers age, that kind of thing, right? But he's not going to get paid more than Saquon makes right now, right? Saquon's coming off of a year where he had 2,000 yards and won a Super Bowl.
You're acting like that's not. You're acting like this isn't how this works. If you're the best running back on the market, you will get the highest paid running back.
Saquon got a 2-year. Saquon got a 2-year deal worth like 20 on average. There is zero chance that Kenneth Walker gets $20 million as a running back. It's just not valued highly enough as a position. And he had a good year, but 95% of this year he played.
He's the reason they won the Super Bowl. I mean, the defense is the reason, but
the defense is the real reason. They would have won this game 12-0 if they had
the offense. Now, don't get me wrong. The offensive line for most of the night played very well for the Seahawks.
What I will say,
Darnold was not under the same amount of duress. Now, Darnold also moved in the pocket really well, but they did a great job run blocking.
What I will say is, don't get me wrong, I think Kenneth Walker is really, really good, but Kenneth Walker at this point, right, he's not better than a healthy Christian McCaffrey. He's not better than Derrick Henry. He is not better than Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson.
I mean, I could argue he's not better than Achane.
He's not better than Devine. He's not. I mean, he had a great stretch on a really good team. He did.
Hold on. You're acting as if that's the way contracts work. Tua wasn't better than most of the people he makes more money than.
But the difference, yes, but the difference is that quarterback always continues to go up because there's not a position in the league that's more valued. Running back has consistently, time and time again, been shown that it is not valued. We saw that even with Saquon and Derrick Henry, who were let walk for nothing because they were viewed as old running backs that didn't have much value. And was that wrong? Yes, but teams don't value it.
You're missing a point.
And both of those guys have done much more in this league than Kenneth Walker.
Generally speaking, you are correct. But there's about 5 or 6 guys that's not true of. I think Kenneth Walker just put himself in that category.
I disagree. I think, again, he had a really good stretch.
You're right. For the most part, that's true. But there are 5 or 6, 7 running backs in this league that will get paid. And I don't know how you don't do it for the Super Bowl MVP.
He had a really good stretch on a phenomenal roster, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but for 95% of this year, he was in a very, very 50-50 split backfield with Zach Charbonnet, and it wasn't until he tore his ACL against the Niners that Kenneth Walker took over and became the full-time guy. And again, he stepped up massively, and you can make the real argument that maybe they don't win a Super Bowl without him, right? And that's possibly true. And like I said, I do feel very strongly that he deserved to win Super Bowl MVP. I'm very glad he got it. He is not viewed, I promise you, as a top 5 back in this league, and nor should he be. He's a very, very good
I'm not
football
saying
player.
he is. I'm saying he's really important to the Seahawks and he's going to get paid.
He might get paid by the Seahawks. I don't know that he gets paid by that many
That's
other
what
teams.
I think he will get paid by the Seahawks.
Sure, but if there's no other pressure, he's going to get like 12 mil, which is really good contract for a running back, but it's not like groundbreaking. So
anyway, we'll see.
He set him up, obviously, set himself up in a very advantageous position, and he's gonna. I mean, for a guy that was a second-round pick that's now gonna get his first real contract in the NFL, like he's gonna make some real money, and good for him. He deserves it. I mean, props.
All right, I'm gonna throw you a curveball here. I'm done with the Super Bowl unless you have something else you want to say.
I just want to say, shout out Sam Darnold. I mean, I talked about how I've got my whole anti-Sam bias, and to some degree that's still true. But he is the first player in the history, the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to be the starting quarterback on a Super Bowl winning team, where it's his 5th team or later. That's insane. It's actually phenomenal. I mean, he was
I'm first player in NFL history to win 14 games on back-to-back years with
on
2
different teams. Yeah, I mean, you can't take anything away from him. Again, like, great team all around him, great coaching job, but he played really well as well. Props to him. It's really cool to see, honestly, and he was super cool about it. He said it right away whenever it happened. He said, he was first people he thanked as soon as they asked him a question on the podium was shout out my teammates, shout out my coaches, and that's just kind of who he is. Hard not to root for that. It's crazy we came from the guy that was seeing ghosts to this.
The Jets will do it. The Jets will do it every time.
The Jets will do it to you, and I couldn't be more happy to crap on the Jets. So shout out that. The only other thing I will say is shout out Mike McDonald. I mean, it's been a narrative this whole time that he came in the first time he met the team and was like, hey, I think we can get to the point where we're competing for NFC championships. And that statement came out like as soon as he was hired, like that he said that in the locker room, and everybody's like, the Seahawks, are we for real? And well, they just won a freaking Super Bowl. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
And the other thing too, their GM had some balls, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
To let Geno walk, because Geno had a couple of really good years there. To let him walk and then to say, Darnold's the solution, that takes balls and some conviction.
Now,
right?
for what it's worth,
people were second guessing that to a certain degree, right? Now we saw what Geno did this year.
For what it's worth,
on a terrible team. But
for what it's worth, the Seahawks probably would not have won a Super Bowl this year if Geno Smith was their quarterback.
I don't think they do. No way they do. I agree.
No. However, I do still believe there would be a playoff team, and I believe that Geno Smith would have had a relatively solid season. Like he would
say that, but they weren't a playoff team last year.
Different circumstances.
With largely the same roster.
Kind of, not really. I mean, everybody was. It's a very young roster, so everybody was a year younger and or not on the roster.
I mean,
so
I got that.
Cooper Kupp wasn't there. Like, there's quite a few differences. I do believe they probably still would have snuck into the playoffs, but it would have looked a lot different. And no, they wouldn't have been as good. They would not have won 14 games. But I guess my point is, I don't believe Geno Smith would have been the guy that led the league in interceptions this year if he played for the Seahawks. Although maybe he would have, because Sam Darnold actually led the league in turnovers this year. So maybe he would have.
All right. Off the Super Bowl, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball real quick.
All right.
Because I have watched literally like 5 minutes of it. But there have been a few entertaining things in the Olympics. Well, some sad and some entertaining.
Okay.
First, Peekaboo Streets, one of our all-time famous skiers, just slid down the mountain on our face. And then, of course, Lindsey Vonn, massive wipeout. I haven't heard any of the updates from her. I hope she's all right.
So,
but hold on real quick. But the funniest thing I've seen, did you see our bobsled team?
No.
You did not see the footage of this?
No.
You'll have to look it up and maybe put it on here or something. It's a 4-man bobsled team, right? And part of the reason you have 4 guys isn't just the push at the beginning, but it's the weight. Because otherwise that thing will fly out of control down the course. The front guy gets in, the steerer. I don't know if that's what they call him or not. I'm not a bobsled expert. The other 3 wipe out hard. They don't get in. He manages to get down the whole course, just him, and not die. But it's really funny. I say funny. It's possible those guys got a little banged up because they hit hard. You need to watch this clip. But anyway, that's all I know about the Olympics. The current medal count is we're 5th. But
ooh, that's not great.
We're behind Norway, Germany, Sweden, and Switzerland in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, okay. All right. So Lindsey Vonn, she tore her ACL like 9 days before the Olympics started, right?
Yeah, and she tore it like 2 or 3 years ago too. She's been in constant rehab for the last few years.
Yeah. But she was in some competition, like 9 days before the Olympics started. Had to be airlifted out of that.
They said her practice runs look good though.
She tore her ACL.
Yeah.
And then they were asking her about it, and she was like, it's not 50%, 80%. No, it's 100% gone. Like, it's gone. So when she had her wipeout actually in the Olympics, had to be airlifted, she fractured her like tibia or fibia somewhere in there. Like, she's like, it's not good. But you got to respect her. I mean, she's one of the most decorated American Olympians of all time. And you got to respect the fact that she knew this was her last go at it. And she said, I don't care what my body feels like right now. I got to give it a shot because otherwise I'll regret it for the rest of my life. It does not exact words, but I'm paraphrasing.
It sounded like her practice runs went really well.
So, but I mean, anyway, shout out her. You got to respect that.
Where did it go?
The real generational beef is teaching my dad how to use his cell phone.
Stop.
Oh, goodness.
I'm guessing we didn't get gold.
Hunter Powell can't get in either. Hunter with the black helmet, he gets knocked out. Ryan ready trying to hold himself into the side. And then Van Helden, well, he bailed.
That's crazy. I don't know how bobsledding works. I don't know how critical they are after they do
you need to wait.
Piece.
They were saying I think they might go like another 10 or 15 miles faster an hour without the weight, and it's harder to turn when you don't have the weight because it's just the one guy in it. Because it's just like a thing like this, I think. Anyway, pretty funny.
Very interesting.
That's the best part of the Olympics. I'm assuming none of them got hurt, injured.
Hopefully not.
All right.
So
NBA.
Sure, we can go NBA. What you got?
Thunder Lakers last night.
Yeah, Thunder Lakers.
J-Dub definitely had a nice offensive outing. It wasn't very efficient, but
I was gonna say he came back late. Outing. He started really, really slow. He had a good second half for sure.
Caruso, Joe, they had big nights. The unsung hero, and I know this has happened in some losses, but man, Jay Will's been playing really well.
Jay Will's kind of like the heart and soul kind of guy.
Jay Will's been playing very, very well.
It's good to see him get in there and get real productive minutes going. I mean, because you come into the nitty gritty of the playoffs, especially if everybody's healthy, that's not really going to be happening. But props to him. Yeah, I mean,
By the way, once again, Austin Reeves, who's having a really good offensive year, I think he's averaging right at 26 a game. For the second time playing us, we kept him below 16. I think he had 16 this one. Last time I think it was 13. Very inefficient shooting.
But he had 16 at half. Yeah,
he didn't score again.
Yeah.
And then you think about what we did to Luka. Obviously, he didn't play last night, but the last time we held him under 20, which is why he's not got an active streak like Shea does. This team without Luka, but even with him when they played us before, because they don't play defense, when they play a really good defense to an elite defense that we are, they got no chance to winning.
No, I fully agree. And there are some nights
LeBron led him in scoring at 22. But it was relatively inefficient. He was 0-4 from 3. He did have 10 assists, but
they are a really good offense for what it's worth. So some nights they are just going to beat good defenses, but not this one, right? This is an elite defense. They're not beating this one,
especially not if they don't have Luka. They can't beat. They can't beat our team without Luka. But even with Luka this year, we held him. We made him look pedestrian.
I mean, there's a reason that there's 5 teams I would list in the Western Conference as a true competitor to us before I listed them, one of which would be the Clippers. I'm more scared of playing the Clippers in the playoffs than them. And no, I'm not necessarily... Yeah, I'm not worried about playing the Clippers either, just because is Kawhi going to be there? Maybe, maybe not, but who knows? I don't know. And they probably don't...
And even if he isn't, who else do you have to guard?
Well, so I'm not that worried about him because Darius Garland probably won't be there. He's not healthy. And so I'm not worried about their roster as a whole necessarily. So I'm not worried about them. But I am more worried about playing the Clippers in the playoffs, especially if Kawhi's healthy, than I am the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers are just such a flawed basketball team because their defense is awful. I mean, I'm not worried about the Lakers one lick. I am worried about losing the 1 seed and then having to play the Spurs on the road. I mean, that's something. It's not nothing. I would still expect to win that series.
Lose the 1 seed.
But we're only 3 games up right now.
If J-Dub comes back or stays back healthy, if
J-Dub hasn't played like J-Dub last year once this season. Not one time.
I know, but he hasn't played that many games either.
No, he hasn't, but it hasn't looked great when he did. And like last night was literally the best game he's played all season.
I know, but I just there's a couple of teams though that are weird to me right now, and almost to the point of being inexplicable. And one of them is the Timberwolves. Like, they should be better. Like, I don't understand them.
I mean, they beat us twice, so
I know, but they're 33-22. Yeah, they brought everything they had at us in a game, and they won. Okay,
that's a solid record. It's not like groundbreaking, but I mean, the 4 seed.
I mean, well, no, it's not. It's the 6th seed right now.
But like separated by like a game.
I mean, the Warriors are the 8th seed right now.
Right. No, but I'm saying like how.
And the Clippers, by the way, are still the 10th seed.
No, I'm aware of that. The play-in does exist, though, and I trust them more than the other teams in the play-in currently. Not to say that they would get in, certainly, but like, and there's still a lot of season left. Like, they can still jump.
The teams that really I don't understand are the Timberwolves. I don't understand the Rockets. Like, they should be better too, especially because both of those teams were better last year than they are this year.
I mean, progression isn't linear. It's not always.
You know what I mean?
You're good and then you get better. And for what it's worth, the Rockets, it's very, very explicable. You traded Jalen Green, who was your highest upside scorer last season, but very inefficient, for a guy that has higher upside and is very efficient and very, very consistent in Kevin Durant, right? That's great. But then that it would be assuming that the rest of the roster is the same, and it's not, because Fred VanVleet tore his ACL going into the year, so they're literally playing this entire season without a point guard. They have no spacing other than Kevin Durant. Like, it's not very optimal, and yet they're still finding ways to win games because their defense is pretty good, and their rebounding is phenomenal. So it's actually kind of like really impressive to me what they've done this year, and I get that like their record isn't as great as it was last year. If Fred VanVleet had been on this team the whole year, I mean, they might win the 1 seed, like legitimately. Like they've been really, really good.
And really, we've talked about
they are really missing that ball handler.
The most surprising team of the season, and he's not going to get it, but because of what I'm about to say, I think there's a player on that team that at least deserves to be in the MVP conversation. The Celtics are shocking.
I mean, he's definitely Jaylen Brown is definitely in the conversation.
Has to be in the conversation.
I mean, he definitely is. He definitely is. And depending on how much time Shea missed, considering he'll have played so many more games than Shea and Luka and Jokic and Giannis and all these other guys and Wemby, he could win it. Like, it's very possible.
Right now, outside of Shea, to me, he's number 2.
Sure, you can also talk Cade Cunningham, who is leading his team to be the 1 seed in the East. He's very, very good. You can also talk Jalen Brunson, who's been really, really good as well.
Yeah, but with all the injuries and then the people that they lost from the Celtics, everyone thought this was a rebuilding year.
No, absolutely, I agree.
And this is a throwaway year, and they're in 3rd, and they're 5.5 games back from the Pistons.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is like. That's another reason why right now Joe Mazzulla is like running away as coach of the year, because everybody loves the work that he's done with this team, and the offense has still
Well, and
been
rightly so.
phenomenal. And yeah, I mean,
Everyone thought everybody thought this was a give up year.
for what it's worth, there weren't many people predicting them to miss the playoffs just because the East is weak, but everybody's like they're the 7-8 seed, not they're the 2-3 and a real threat to come out of it, which is insane. Like,
With
if
a
they can
potential
go on
MVP
some
on
sort
it.
of run and make the Eastern Conference Finals, make the finals, who knows? Not that you would ever question whether or not Jason Tatum makes his team better, because he does, and he is still the best player on this team. But it really makes you question more so about the ceiling of Jaylen Brown, right? It doesn't make you question Jason Tatum even slightly, but it does make you question the ceiling of Jaylen Brown. Like, would they both be optimized playing on different teams? And if that's the case, what can the Celtics get out of one of them? It'd be a very interesting conversation.
If there was ever a question of whether he was legitimately a number one, that's gone.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so it does pose the roster building construction question of whether you decide to keep Tatum or you decide to keep Jaylen Brown. Is the team better if you ship one of them off? And if so, considering they're both MVP level caliber talents, what do you get for them? And what makes it worth it to do it? Now, the ultimate answer to this question is that most likely they never make a move like that and they just keep them together for as long as they can. But because I do still believe that they are a better basketball team, obviously, when Jason Tatum comes back. But Jaylen Brown has been a phenomenal player this year. He's averaging like close to 30, like right at 29 points a game. Like he's a really good two-way player. He's just been phenomenal all year.
Here's the problem with Jaylen Brown. You talk about what they can get for him and what they could do. You forget he already signed the big deal.
It's like $300 million. No, I know. I don't forget that. Trust me. It's like $300 million.
It's 236, but that means if you trade him, whoever you're trading has to give up $53 million in salary, and you just. I think the era of those big trades is over because it just destroys the other team to do it. Which means there's
always going to be a team that's desperate enough. It's not going to.
I don't mean it the way this is going to. I don't mean it the way this is going to sound, but they're basically stuck with both of them because of what they paid them.
I understand what you're saying. I understand you're not. Yes, but what I will say is that to some degree I agree with you, but the part that you do overlook is whether it's to please fans because you've been stuck in mediocrity or bad for a long time or you know, whatever it may be. There's always going to be a team that's desperate enough to do it. The question is just whether or not their desperateness and what they're giving up for it is enough for you to pull the trigger. And maybe it's not, right? So it could be a mutual thing of like a team is desperate enough to offer whatever they want to offer, but maybe the Celtics just aren't okay with that package in return, and that's fair. But there's always going to be a team that's desperate enough.
The other thing that's hard to believe about him, he's 29.
No, I mean, yeah, he was in the same class as Ben Simmons. So, I mean,
so glad I don't have to hear about him anymore. But thanks for bringing him up.
Let's talk about Ben Simmons for a minute. He's a professional fisherman.
Who cares?
Pro fishing.
He's probably better at that than he was at basketball.
Probably. He said he's working on hooping, though. He wants to get back a couple years. He said he's taking a mental break.
No one's going to pay him.
He said he's taking a mental break.
Yeah, he needs a mental break because he had no mental toughness at all.
That's fair.
One of the weakest players I've ever seen.
It was not great, that's for sure. When you're playing alongside Joel Embiid and playing for Doc Rivers, though, it's not an advantageous situation.
Doc Rivers, the most overrated coach in the history of the NBA.
I guess that's kind of my point, is that you walk in as a rookie that's talented, and that's your coach, and you're playing alongside Joel Embiid, who's another like very soft superstar. Like, you're not in a great advantageous position for breeding mental toughness, I would say. So not to excuse Ben Simmons because he's.
When is the All-Star game? Is that this weekend
Sunday?
Or next weekend?
Yeah, it's this Sunday.
So All-Star weekend is this weekend.
Yes. We've got
I'll make sure I avoid most of it.
We've got the Rising Stars and Celebrity Games on Friday night. All-Star Saturday night, obviously dunk competition, 3-point contest, other skill competitions that they've got going, and then the big games, plural.
More importantly
than
Sunday. Any of that is a human interest story, which is how awesome is it that Topic is playing for the Blue right now?
It's very cool. Very cool. And he's got some
the fact
hair.
that he could actually, and the fact that he could actually get on to our active roster this year
He's
would
got some
be an
hair.
amazing thing to see.
He's got some hair.
It'd be an amazing thing to see. I'm rooting for it big time.
I don't know whether or not it will happen, just because, first of all, you got to think like roster spots and active roster spots and stuff. And
I get
obviously, this is a team
But we
trying to
drafted him for
actually
a
win a
reason.
title.
We kept him on the roster for a reason. Like, the guy's got unbelievable talent.
Oh yeah, no, we're not going to trade him, and at worst, he will be playing next year, assuming that he doesn't have any other kind of like natural injury, whatever.
But I mean, just super cool somebody to go through that. I mean, he went through, I don't know if it was radiation or chemo, which one he went through, or both. I don't know.
I think it was chemo, yeah.
But so cool that he's back on a basketball court with the Blue right now, working it out.
Absolutely.
It's just a great story, and just rooting for the guy personally. Basketball is kind of a second seat when you get to stuff like that, obviously. More important that he just survives and gets healthy. But just a super cool story if he were to get back on the active roster this year somehow. Not going to be easy because it's so stacked. But I think, obviously, when you get towards the end of the bench, he's definitely got more upside than some of those guys.
I also would say, in a accolades interest, if he doesn't touch the court this year, next season he's eligible for Rookie of the Year. He won't win
Fair
it.
enough.
He won't win
You
it.
know my opinion on that.
I know.
It's the stupidest thing ever that you can win Rookie of the Year just because you never played in your rookie year.
I mean, he did have cancer.
The only sport I believe that actually that happens with, but
no, that's definitely not true. And in fact, in the MLB, you can actually play and then still win it the next year. It's just about how much you play. Yeah. On a similar kind of topic-ish to that, I don't know if you saw it or not. They're trying to ruin my sport even more. I hate this. The coaches voted almost unanimously on a new red shirt rule. Players can play up to 9 games in a season and still redshirt.
It's ridiculous.
That's insanity. Like 3 or 4, like I'm okay with that, just because like you play early, mostly in the games that are out of conference that are just against BS teams that don't really matter. You're just playing random guys because you're up by 40, fine, and then you sit them the rest of the year and they're not a real part of this team. They play 9 games, you're a real part of that roster. Like,
look, none of it matters anymore. This isn't college sports.
I know.
NCAA football isn't college sports anymore. It's just not.
I hate it.
And it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
You should have to be a real student. There's got to do some things with the portal. They've got to do some things with, I hate to call it a salary cap, but some kind of NIL cap. You're still going to have teams that can spend more than others, but still some kind of, I don't know. I will say the interesting thing, because one thing that I'll find interesting, because Indiana could already be part of this occurring, right? Which is, I'm not a huge college basketball fan. I just find the product boring as hell. When you compare it to the NBA, it's so slow. Then they could do some simple things, right? Lower the shot clock. Doesn't have to go to 24, but lower it from where it is now. There's just some things you could do. Let's go to 4 quarters, for God's sakes, instead of 2 halves. Like, anyway, so I'm not a big fan of it, because as an NBA fan, it's just the product is superior in every way. But at least used to, you could say, well, it's the heart. Well, not now. It's all financial, just like everything else.
Obviously, there's a lot less NIL in college basketball than there is in college football. Yes, your major programs are still working with real numbers, obviously. But
the one and done with the NBA and stuff, there's some other problems it has, right? And so what I was going to say, though, is you might be seeing that with what Indiana did this year in football, which is they had a bunch of guys that played for 3 and 4 years on a roster, right? And I get the last two just with the coach, who's obviously elite. But I wonder if you're going to start seeing that a little bit more in college or in football, where you get some of these guys that maybe build a roster from some D1, lower end D1, higher end D2, and they start putting these rosters together, and they get to play together a couple of years. And maybe they come out of nowhere and make a run because you got this roster with a bunch of 5-star recruits that you're paying a bunch of money to, but it's the first time they've ever played together, right? I mean, if you don't have elite coaching, then who knows what'll happen with that. So I don't think it's the same, because the rosters are so much bigger and there's so much more to a football game.
Much more
and so
complexity.
much more that the athletics matter than it does, in basketball on a
Basketball, you get
5-on-5
hot
situation.
in the tournament.
Yeah, but
It's
you
a
have a
lot
one and
different.
done guy at Duke who is already looking passes to the NBA draft next
Yeah,
year.
for sure.
And you've
For
got
sure.
a group of 5 guys that this is their only shot to do anything athletically, right? They're probably not going to the NBA. They're probably not doing those things. And we've seen some of those smaller schools the last few years really make deep runs when it matters in the tournament. And so you wonder if something similar could happen in football. I don't think so, because there's so many more positions, so many more people on the field, that even if I'm, in Indiana or Boise or whatever, and I
I mean,
can put,
while I agree with what you're saying to some degree, it's never going to be a team that's not in the Power Four. It's just not, right? Like it's not going to
you say
happen.
that, but in essence, that's Indiana. I get that they're in the Big Ten,
I mean, but
but they're the most losingest Division I team in the history of
yes,
football.
but you still have the ability to say that this is a team playing against Oregon and Ohio State and Penn State and Michigan and all these big time schools,
I know, but they
which
always lose,
sure,
right? Like,
but what I'm saying is that, well, that's where Curt Cignetti comes in as being a great coach. But what I'm saying is, if you're a team like Boise State, for example, you can't say that. You can't tell these prospects that you're trying to go get, hey, you've got this really big game to go prove yourself. Nope, the game doesn't exist
I mean, you could
unless
schedule, but
unless well, maybe one game out of conference, but none of your conference games are going to be that. And the only way for that to really happen, other than maybe one early in the season, non-con, in which you're going to have to go on the road to play, would be you got to go basically play flawless football for 12 weeks and then have a chance to make the playoffs. Maybe.
yeah, I'm not arguing it. I'm just saying it's just a curiosity to me more than anything, right? I think the magic, other than Cignetti being a great coach, the magic that Indiana captured this year is going to be gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Cuban's already said they're never going to hurt for NIL money, which I think is going to destroy their program and their culture to a certain degree. You're going to have a bunch of guys that, if they get them, right, it's not just money. They're still not going to get the top guys, I don't think. And so you might start to break your culture a little bit. It worked because a lot of these guys it was kind of like the island of misfit toys there.
yeah, but I
And
kind
I
of
don't
trust
mean that.
Cignetti to keep the culture built.
Yeah. But if you start bringing in elite talent at some positions, they're not going to look at him the same way as the guys that were like, I'm just happy to be on a Division I team.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're
It's
saying.
a different mentality. And so it's not a knock on Cignetti.
But like you said,
It's a
even
knock
with
on
the
those players.
success, they're
It's a
still
knock
not
on
gonna
those players.
they're still not gonna out recruit Oregon. They're still not gonna out recruit Ohio State. They're still not gonna out recruit Michigan. I mean, so they're not getting to that level. And that's only talking the Big Ten. Obviously, they're not out recruiting Bama or Clemson or Georgia or OU, Texas, LSU. You're not out recruiting these teams. So yes, you might get slightly higher profile names than what you had on the roster this year, but it is still that second or third tier of like, all right, they had their pickings of these guys. Now we get to choose from the rest. So yes, the talent pool might expand a bit, obviously, and it will to some degree because you won a national title, but it's still not going to be the resources available to some of these other major schools.
Well, when you say resources, Cuban has said they won't
No.
want for resources.
I don't mean financial resources. I mean talent pool resources. Like there's just going to be players that are like, I don't want to play at Indiana.
So, anyway,
yeah. On the college basketball note, I hope you understand that the 22nd of March, and probably even the 15th of March as well, but definitely the 22nd of March, you paid some pretty good money for us to have a March Madness pod. So
I did. Well, Mom and I both.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be spending a lot of time with these games, so we're gonna talk about them.
Those were some expensive tickets.
Yeah. March Madness, the 17th and the 19th at Paycom. I will be in attendance. Cannot wait for that. Very, very fun. Very exciting.
Yeah.
That was my
Obviously, we'll do
favorite.
brackets.
That was my favorite weekend of the year by a mile. I agree with you. I don't like college basketball typically, but less than the rules. Yeah,
Let me rephrase it. It's not that I don't like it. It's just really difficult to watch
sure
at times.
there's some rules that
The product
obviously
is not great sometimes.
there's some rules that you highlighted that obviously like can change the product, but for me it's really just the fact that there's basically like 300 to 400 something players in the NBA at any given time, and there's 330 Division 1 basketball teams, right? So like there's almost as many Division 1 teams as there are players in the NBA. It's just obviously a very different talent pool.
Well, it's
You're
a
not
much
going to get the
diluted
same product.
pool,
Right.
right?
So
Sometimes it's hard to watch when a team's jacking up threes and no one can hit one.
and
Like, it's
while
like, oh my God,
obviously it's the same in the NFL compared to college football, it's still different in the sense of like if you look at all of your major programs, maybe 8 to 10 of the starters are NFL players, but on their entire roster, they've got like 30 or 40 that will eventually be NFL players. And they're not all playing at one time, no. But when you look at the major programs, that's always true, right? There are years that go by where even major programs in basketball, just because there's only 60 picks in any draft class, just don't have any. And so it's just a much different product. Or even if they do, right? Like BYU right now has AJ DeBanza, who might end up being the number 1 overall pick. They're a good team outside of him for college basketball, but outside of that, it's kind of just like, I'm watching this game for AJ DeBanza. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So it's just much different. It's a much different vibe. Normally speaking, unless it's a like group of 5 school, if you're watching a football game with a major prospect, you're at least watching a couple other guys that maybe not be as highly level prospects in football, but you're watching a couple other guys that are going to make the NFL because these are major programs that have real talent. Unless, again, it's a group of 5 school that has one guy, right? That's not necessarily true in basketball. You're watching lots of teams that will never go anywhere else. So it's just a much different product.
Last item, the Oklahoma
But
Supreme Court upheld moving the OU stadium or the basketball stadium to that entertainment district.
Yeah.
North
It's
of
exciting.
Norman.
It's exciting.
So that should. I don't like the fact that it's not going to be where Lloyd Noble is and still on campus, but the area is going to be cool.
Lloyd Noble in itself is already a mile and a half away from campus. So yes,
It's not a mile and a half away from campus.
It's a mile and a half away from like classes.
Campus extends to there. It's a mile from the football stadium to Lloyd Noble.
No, it's like a mile and a half from the football stadium.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah, it's almost 2 miles.
Point is, it does extend because you have the campus, you have dorms, you have the softball and baseball fields. But it extends.
Well, the softball and baseball fields are across the street from Lloyd Noble, but even like any dorms, it's still like 3/4 of a mile away.
But
I mean, like,
I guess my point is where they're moving it to is 5 or 6 miles north.
Yes. So no, it's not on campus, but they are also part of that is they're putting a lot of apartments that some of which, not all of which, but some of which are intended to be used for student living. So there will be students living nearby.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be super cool. I wish they could have figured out a way to do it where they, played the basketball game somewhere else for a couple of years and built it where Lloyd Noble is, which I think would have been cool. But
sure, but it's also like you said, it's in an entertainment district. It's going to have bars. It's going to have shopping. Like it wouldn't make sense out there on Highway 9.
I mean, I got it. I'm just saying
it's going to be in the heart of Norman, which is going to be really cool. I'm excited.
It's just a little disappointing.
Yeah, it is
but
a little.
It will be.
I understand what you're saying, and I had for what it's worth, I had the exact same thought at first until I started thinking like, you got to walk a mile and a half from the main part of campus to get to Lloyd Noble, anyways. So
I know, but you're not walking from the campus to the new one.
No. But that's pretty cool.
I
don't know. Clint Kubiak is officially the Raiders head coach. 5-year deal.
Did they announce it? I assumed it would happen pretty quick.
5-year deal. So
that was the only thing that made sense that they hadn't named anyone yet.
So,
but did they officially did it?
Yeah. 5-year deal.
Pretty recent.
I think it was yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. He personally said it like after the Super Bowl, like in his press conference, he confirmed it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm the head coach there." And then yesterday it came out that it was going to be a 5-year deal. So that's cool. Good information for Fernando Mendoza. Hopefully good information for Ashton Genty as well. Brock Bowers. Maybe they can do something with the offensive line. Obviously relatively bad news for Geno Smith. His career's pretty much cooked anyways, I'd say.
I mean, I don't know if that's true. Someone will take him.
I don't know, someone will take him, but he's going to start. And if he does, is it going to look good? Because it's probably not going to be a much better situation than the one he was in this year, because nobody in a good situation really wants to take him unless Aaron retires and he ends up in Pittsburgh, which, like, is a better
That'd be a very
situation than the one he
Pittsburgh
was
thing
in
to
last
do
year.
right now.
Yeah. Shout out Mike McCarthy.
Good old Mike. Yeah. Shout out.
I don't know. I will say, just last couple topic points. I don't have the exact numbers here, but if you compare the numbers of Drake May's first 3 playoff starts to Tom Brady's first 3 playoff starts, somehow, some way, Drake May's were actually better.
First of all, his got really skewed in the Super Bowl.
No, I said first three, not including the Super Bowl.
No, I got it.
So, not including the Super Bowl.
I think I'm not looking at them, but I'm assuming the completion percentage was better. Maybe the yards and touchdowns about the same, but I guarantee you those games didn't look like Drake May looked. I watched them.
No.
So it's not the same. Numbers do not tell the whole story.
No, of course not.
Just like the fact that his Super Bowl had better numbers technically than Joe Burrow's Super Bowl. Joe Burrow looked good in the Super Bowl.
And
Drake May
the
was
last thing
terrible.
I will say is that the ball that he threw for the touchdown to Matt Collins was a great ball. Obviously, too little, too late. Didn't matter.
What the hell? Okay, one other quick thing, and then we're gonna be done. What was Matt Collins wearing on the way into the game? What was he? What was he saying? He was wearing like
No
a
idea.
Hannibal Lecter costume. It's not Halloween.
Yeah, I don't know.
That? Isn't he the one that always is barefoot?
Yeah,
Right, Tim.
yeah.
I didn't understand it at all. Like I'll say that's not very Patriot way. Calling all that attention
Not
to
the
yourself
not
and
the
to
Bill
lose.
Belichickian, but this is the Mike
No, I
Vrabel.
understand, but that honestly doesn't seem very Mike Vrabel either.
No,
Like
not
look
necessarily.
at me before the Super Bowl that we just lost. I don't know. It was weird.
He did score a touchdown though.
Yeah, great in garbage time.
Not most
It
players
really
did
did not
though.
matter.
Not most
I
players
mean, I
did.
got it. But, like we said, Stephon Diggs was really excited when he got that first down and spun the ball with 2 minutes left. That was awesome.
Yeah,
He caught himself right away, by the way.
Yeah, he did. He did it, and he was like, "Oh!" But the ref was already like grabbing it, so it didn't really hurt him that much. But yeah, but it was kind of funny, the realization he made there. He was like, "Oh, what did I do?" Very, very. That was very cowboy-esque, Mike McCarthy cowboy-esque time management there. Obviously, their chances were slim and none, but even in the clutch, like, it just looked like they didn't care. Like, there was no urgency. Not that they didn't care, but there was just no urgency. Like, they started moving the ball, obviously, because it's prevent defense. And yeah, they were running the ball to the ref, but other than that, it didn't look like they were like eager to get the ball snapped. Like, I never felt the like urgency from them, so that was a little bit weird too. Just
I don't
kind
know
of
if that's
seemed
fair enough.
hey, sure. I mean, obviously you're playing a great defense, that's part of it too. But like, it just seemed like something was missing, and obviously like their offense was not great, and their offense was incredible all year. So yes, something is missing. Duh. You're playing a lot better defenses, but it was just a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Favorite Super Bowl commercial?
Honestly, getting older, your sister's getting older. The stupid Lay's farmer and daughter.
Okay.
It wasn't funny, but it was a great commercial.
It was a great commercial. That's like the second or third year now that they've done the like, this is what the potato does, like, bring everybody together, kind of community farmer feel there. Cool.
It was hard to see some of them. I mean, I was watching the first half on my phone on a flight from Tulsa to DFW, and I watched the second half and halftime in the second half I watched in the American Lounge in DFW. One other thing, I was watching the final round of the Waste Management, the most un-PGA-like event of the year of any PGA event in the history of PGA events, but clearly it makes a fortune, so they're not canceling it.
Why?
You don't know about the Waste Management in Phoenix?
I mean, I guess other than it's sponsored
sin and
by
debauchery. There's footage every year of drunk people falling over, and they heckle golfers like
really.
Yeah, it's like the anti PGA event. It's
I thought you were going to say that it was like
I'm probably going to go
sponsored
next
by
year.
a trash can.
No, I mean, it is by Waste Management, but I might go next year. It's only about 5 hours from here. But it's interesting
So that way you
because
can be
there's
one of the
even more.
drunk people heckling the golfers falling over.
No, this year someone took it to the next level.
Did they
I
have a
think it was
streaker?
on Friday. Yes. And you know how hard it is to catch somebody streaking on a golf course? I don't know how they finally caught him, but he hit 2 or 3 holes. This goes on for like 15 minutes because he comes out of the stadium and I think it's 16 that's completely surrounded. It's like the most
Oh
famous hole.
yeah. I know which one
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
like
about. Yeah.
he gets out in there, and of course, then you got these security guards. He's juking him because he's wearing a Speedo and he's got something written on his chest. I couldn't tell what it was. And he's running and running and
I have
running.
a
He
couple
finally jumped
guesses.
into the water on 17, I think. And it's got one of those big floating things out there that's Waste Management. And he's out there on that. That's the last part of the footage I ever saw. I don't know how they ever got him. For all I know, they shot him with a dart to knock him out and go get him. I don't know, but
That's
uh,
crazy.
go Google the footage. It's pretty funny. But then just Google all the footage from Waste Management. It's like it's nuts. There's
The
pictures of
NFL,
people
by the
just
way,
falling over.
has gotten very good at that. Where anytime they even slightly recognize a player on the court or on the field, they don't give him airtime now. Because obviously there was the one in the Super Bowl. We never saw him. Obviously, I saw him later on Instagram. Right, people that were there posting videos, but
Here's
you
where it's
never see him.
potentially real. Here's way. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering if this is true of Waste Management, and it's probably true of the Super Bowl. There was a prop bet somewhere that said, "Will there be a streaker?"
Yeah, the one that did it last year, it was proven
Yeah, and if
afterwards
you
that
bet
he
good money
had
on it,
bet
and you
money
want to
on it.
guarantee you get it, and you get like a $2,000 or $3,000 fine, but you're going to win 50,000 for it happening, it's a pretty good day at the office.
I mean, until you become a convicted whatever. I mean, for trespassing.
It's not even. I don't even know that it's illegal.
I mean, it's definitely trespassing.
I know, but it's probably a
A
misdemeanor.
civil offense.
Yeah, it may not be civil. It's probably a misdemeanor. You're probably getting a fine. But if you just made $50,000 to $100,000 on a prop bet and you made sure it occurred, it's pretty brilliant.
Fair enough.
I didn't say I'd do it. And you could tell that this guy was not
Now
overly
you
drunk
could
or what.
maybe get.
Have you seen the footage have you seen the Super Bowl guy's footage? He had meta glasses on.
No,
So the footage
I
from his
didn't
meta
see that
glasses
part of
have
it.
made it out. It's actually pretty
Okay.
cool. He had no desire to get lit up. When the defensive guy from the Patriots came over, he just slid.
I mean,
But you could see it.
you should.
Yeah, well, 'cause we saw that a couple of years ago where that dude was it
Oh, yeah.
Wagner that lit him up with the Rams?
Oh,
Lit him
yeah.
up.
Bobby
Anyway.
Wagner went and like hawked him down, like kind of crazy. My favorite commercial, by the way, did you see the tight ends commercial with Bruce Arians?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. This will happen nowhere else but this.
No, never. I mean, anywhere else you can't even take your phone in. Well, I mean, that's maybe just Masters, but
the Masters, but
there's several places that are like that.
Watch. It's not even that deep. Watch him stand up. Because it didn't even any other event other than this one, even if you had a guy do this, right? They never would have, no one would be screaming for him.
Right.
Only this one. By the time we get out here, he's just worn out. But I don't know how they got him. This is the most I've ever seen.
I mean,
like, I don't know.
They probably got a boat or something out there.
I mean, but he just keeps running the other way. At some point, surely I don't know. I haven't seen how it ended.
That's interesting. But yeah, the tight ends commercial is my favorite. Bruce
pretty
Arians
funny.
just, admitting
And
to
then they go,
everybody that he
no,
has
don't worry, a blood test or whatever now.
prostate cancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like relax your tight end, and it focuses on everybody's butts, like unclenching.
Yeah.
Very
That
funny.
was pretty funny. I've forgotten about it.
That was my favorite. You got your annual Hobby Lobby wasting a bunch of money commercial. My favorite. Love that.
See that one.
Just the, whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
See it. It's their money.
commercials have gotten kind of boring, honestly. They're not the hitters they used to be.
It's just creativity's not there. I sent you something on Insta or Facebook earlier showing you the top 10 commercials of all time. Some of them I agreed with. Some of them I thought, no, that's dumb. One of the classics, it wasn't funny, it was just super creative, was when the Macintosh came out in 84. And it was basically like a scene from the book 1984. And the idea was the Macintosh is going to make it to where we don't have to be like 1984. Anyway, that was classic. And they had one from, I think it was 2012 or 2013, which I loved. And it was deserving of the list, where the little kid's pretending to be Darth Vader and he's trying to use the Force on everything and nothing works. And his dad gets home and he's out there by the Volkswagen and his dad uses remote start and the kid goes, because he actually thought he turned the car on.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Anyway,
all right. We got anything else?
Generational Beef week 4?
Week
or is this
4?
week 3? But
I think it's week 4.
Did you ever post a special episode?
No, I didn't, because
Shorts from it.
Yeah, it was too messed up. I might
messed up.
Yeah, I might post a couple shorts. I was looking at that. There are a couple I might be able to post, but we were talking about NBA trades, breaking them down. Maybe some of those will make it to you. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But it was not a very well executed production on somebody's end.
I know I did.
Sure. Phenomenal work. Anyways, so follow us on the socials. You'll just see some short clips, maybe some exclusive content. Never before seen stuff behind the scenes occasionally, follow us on all the socials at Gen Beef Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Give the audio podcast a listen. Go rate it. Give it 5 stars. Everything's in the comments, in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back next week.
Live lucky. Generational Beef.
Peace.